I can't believe I'm saying this, guys, but we are back again with Simon Harris for the third time. That's right, I said it, the third time, with Ben Scallon asking Mr. Simon Harris about a man who attacks women. Okay, a man that was convicted of 19 crimes previously in England, and then obviously made his way to Ireland, and within 2 days he commits the exact same crime, okay, on a young woman, I believe an 18-year-old woman. And this is the kind of heinous stuff, the sort of no security checks at the border, crazy stuff that's happening now in Ireland in 2025, unfortunately. Okay, and I said this before, and a lot of people copy my content. Okay, every time I flick on a video I see someone copying my shit. But diversity in a vacuum, okay, on its own, okay, just on its own, is not good. Okay, it doesn't do anything, guys. It's not good or bad. Okay, it doesn't do anything. Okay, matter of times it can be bad, but on its own in a vacuum, it doesn't do anything. Okay, what I mean by that is the best people for the job have to rise to the top. The cream of the crop rise to the top. Okay, the best people that are suited for any sort of job or any sort of thing in life, any sort of occupation or any sort of ability, it has to be the number one person with the ability. Just having diversity, just having a Chinese guy, just having a flippin' 20-year-old, just having these different diverse metrics doesn't matter, okay? What only matters, okay, is a binary outcome. Binary means just singular outcome. We need to know exactly, how it helps the country. And it doesn't, guys. A lot of people think, oh man, just because the place is diverse means it's gonna be good, we're gonna get different ideas. It actually doesn't, guys. That is a lie told to us. And unfortunately, it is propped up by the media, okay? So here we're about to listen to it again. Hopefully he finally has an answer for us. The first two times, Simon Harris didn't have an answer for us. He didn't know why this guy was let into the country with 19 previous convictions, and within 2 days in the country, he attacked somebody else. He didn't know, okay? So hopefully the third time asking, he might have some answers. So let's hear it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Just understand that, yeah, like I said, diversity in on its own doesn't matter, okay? You have to be able to push the standards and raise the bar higher, okay? You have to be able to actually perform better metrics, okay? Diversity on its own doesn't mean shit, you guys.
Tarnish, the last couple of times we interacted, I raised the case of Randy Gladstone, who, just to recap, was a Guyanese individual with 19 previous convictions, including for rape and false imprisonment in the UK. He then came to Ireland, and within a matter of days he committed rape and false imprisonment in this country. And I had asked you how that case transpired, what exactly went wrong.
Yeah, I'm not across the details, Ben. I don't want to mislead you.
I don't have that information today, being quite honest.
I'm wondering, do you have any further information on that particular incident and what happened in that circumstance?
And I don't want to be speaking too much about this, but this is a pretty prolific case. That's why he should have known about this. People are like, well, Simon Harris doesn't know about every single thing happening in the country, but that is a particularly insidious case. Okay, that is a particularly bad case, guys. Like, for a guy to have so many convictions and just able to walk freely into Ireland makes you think, like, are Interpol and Europol, are they doing their jobs? Are Ireland and the UK authorities, are they doing their jobs, talking back and forth, saying who's a criminal, who's not a criminal? Are we really being protected, by the police, by the Gardaí? I would say absolutely not, guys. If you're a woman walking the streets, you're going to be pretty vulnerable. And a man, men are vulnerable too. A lot of people just think women are vulnerable. God damn it, men are vulnerable too. Men are just as vulnerable. If not, they're more likely to get attacked by other men. So,
and thank you for raising this matter with me again. And so I have checked out some of the facts in relation to this situation. Firstly, may I say, and may I start at the most important point, this is a heinous criminal who has carried out the most horrific crimes now in this jurisdiction and in other jurisdictions. And of course, I think when we talk about any individual, as you're quite right to raise the issue, of course I think of that horrific criminal's victims, and our thoughts are always with them as well. My understanding is that this individual did not enter Ireland through the international protection system.
Okay.
He didn't come in as seeking international protection. I also understand that because he was of the nationality that he was, that a visa may not have been and was not required for his entry into the country. So
What?
I've been saying to you the last...
So if your country that you're coming from doesn't require a visa, that means you don't need one. What? That's the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life. That's the most insane thing I've ever heard in my entire goddamn life. A visa is there. Like, every country should have a visa. Visas are there so that there's not criminals and there's background checks and there's, oh my god, that's the most insane thing ever. He also says that he didn't come in through the iPass system, which doesn't matter. He came in through the Dublin airport, supposedly, or Shannon airport. Like, when you come in through customs, when you come in through the security checkpoint in Dublin, you have to get checked, guys. Your passport, as soon as they scan your passport, it should pop up on the screen. Hey, this asshole has 19 previous convictions for a sexual assault, harming, robbery, crazy shit. Like, this should come up. Murder. What if it doesn't come up? Then what the hell are we doing? And then he should be brought to the side and put, straight back to the country that he came from. We don't let murderers and rapists into the country, guys.
And I've been checking this out, that obviously if somebody presents in our country seeking international protection, seeking asylum, they are put through a number of rigorous checks in terms of fingerprints, scanning of databases to detect if they've committed any previous offences. Just let me finish this point, and then I'll let you come back. And of course, if that happens and they have convicted certain crimes that serve certain sentences, they are refused admission into our country. The issue here seems to be that this man was not known to our immigration services, didn't seek to come in through international protection, and was travelling from a country in which a visa wasn't required. It does raise, of course it raises issues in relation to how we always need to look at all of our processes. We always have to look at where we have visa restrictions from and where we don't. Of course, bad people will continue to do bad things, and this is a bad individual that committed a horrific crime, and he's rightly serving a very significant sentence in relation to that.
I would say on the fingerprinting point, fingerprints are taken, but according to reporting by my publication, we contacted the Department of Justice about this and found that it's checked against things like the Eurodac database, which checks is somebody an asylum seeker in another country, but it doesn't actually have any criminal component to the check. But on the more substantive point, when it comes to visa-free travel, is it not the case that we would have communication with the UK to find out are individuals who we're letting in potentially dangerous? Is this not something that we should be looking into?
Yes, we should. No, there's no doubt. I mean, your point is valid. I mean, nobody wants to see heinous criminals from other jurisdictions come into our country. Of course we do. What country in the world wants that? I suppose I was making the point, and I do want to make the point to your listeners or to your viewers and to your readers. This is not a case of somebody coming in through international protection, which is perhaps what you and I have been exchanging on, or certainly in some of my comments to you in recent weeks. This is an issue where somebody came to our country, people from that country had a legal right to come here without a visa. This person was not known to our immigration system. And I do think it raises legitimate questions about how we tighten up further our checks in relation to countries where there are visa-free travel. And I will be raising this matter with the Minister for Justice. Thank you very much.
Well, I would hope that you would raise that from the Minister of Justice. And of course, the Minister of Justice should have known about that, guys. Okay, Jim O'Callaghan. Shout out to Gript Media. Go over, like, comment, share their stuff, subscribe to their stuff. It feels like, every single thing that happens every day now, is just a complete shit show. There's no background checks. There's no checks on anything. Nobody really cares. I mean, it's a free-for-all. I've said that for years. I said it about 10 years ago when I was back in college. I was like, I don't think that Ireland is going to be, not even safe, but Ireland's going to be this sort of place where there's any sort of checks on, because it's so lax. Like, Ireland is the most relaxed country in the world. Even the guards and stuff are very peaceful, which is good in some aspects. But, in certain aspects where people are committing heinous crimes, robbery, they steal your car, they rob your house in the middle of the night, flipping with knives and shit like that, it just feels like, that's more of a soft touch, and it should be a soft touch on people with, like, speeding crimes and, like, crimes that are, like, flipping, like, that are accidental or perceived accidental. Like, obviously, if you're intentionally speeding, it's not good. But if, you run a flipping stop sign, or you flipping do this, or you don't do this, very harsh sentences for some of these more lax crimes. Whereas I suppose, in my opinion, the more extreme crimes are very easily let off. And they're not treated, violent crime, they're not treated in a manner, that's what I think, especially by the judges, it seems like. The Gardaí is a different story, of course. But yeah, absolutely insane. Do they know what's going on in the country? I don't think that the government have any idea what's going on in the country whatsoever. I'll be perfectly honest. I think that there's no sort of logistics, you know, talking between different members. There's no sort of communication. You know, there's sort of a lack of communication, which is the worst thing in the world. That's literally why a country would be better than other third world countries, is because the communication between the two would be like on point, and you know, and everyone is you know, well informed. But yeah, on diversity, guys, I've said this before, you know, it doesn't matter if they hire a Chinese guy, a 20-year-old, you know, it doesn't really matter to be diverse in a workplace. What matters is the best guy for the job. Okay, if you hire a 20-year-old and he's shit, or a Chinese guy and he's terrible at the job, that's not good, guys. That is actually detrimental to your business. You would never do it in business, but for some reason the government want to do that with the country. Just completely insane, guys. We should only be helping people, you know, that want to help us. Help people that want to help us. I love you all. Stay free. Like, comment, subscribe. If you want to help push back against the mainstream media, hit the join link underneath the video. I love you all, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.